Hello, I just want to ask some questions about your program because I'm planning to enroll in it. Just want to make sure that I can benefit from it. So I'm a financial copywriter. I've been training the past few months with
Beep.
and
Beep.
train me. I was going back and forth with them, and they said that the key to get hired as financial copywriter and get in the door is by being a good short form copywriter. So they trained me on writing lists, space ads, editorials, and said I can now write decent copy. When the time comes to get hired, I was reaching out to financial publishers and copy chiefs with no success. I'm getting a bit burned out. So I want to ask if you can help me achieve what I'm looking to achieve. I'm slightly paraphrasing here now. Get a job with a financial publisher and work as a short form copywriter and get better in-house. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts.
If you enjoy The Fix and want to get access to even more good stuff, join the Fix Accelerator today. Get access to special masterclasses from Nick and me, watch expert interviews with industry legends, join live copy feedback sessions every week, and get connected to our very own private copy network. Visit thefixaccelerator.com for more information.
That is an email from an aspiring young, presumably young copywriter who is trying to get into the financial copywriting world, a world that me and you are very familiar with. It's where we grew up and still work today. He's been instructed by various gurus in the industry to write short form copy as a way of doing that. Nick, do you think that is the right approach to getting a job as a financial copywriter?
No, it's not. It's bad advice. It's well-intentioned advice, but it's bad advice. It's not, doesn't bear any, so I'm probably going to lose some friends or some people that could have been friends.
I don't think you've got that many friends, so I just see it as you'll be gaining enemies.
Yes, I've been against some enemies. Thanks, Glenn. No, so I'm just going to give a few caveats before I let loose. Right. The first is, this isn't the first message like this. There are lots of people that have spoken to us about this problem in various ways, shapes, or forms. So I would paraphrase it as, I've been told to write short form copy, emails, mostly lift notes, as a way of getting into the financial publishing industry, but it isn't working. Okay. The reason it doesn't work is because that's not what anyone's looking for. Now, the well-intentioned part, you will develop some of the core competencies and skills required to be a financial copywriter if you learn to do this. So it's not a waste of your time. And it is born of a particular place and time. I would say 2018, 2019. Okay. This was kind of the peak years, actually all the way through to 2021. Sort of the end of the bull market in financial markets. And there was an associated bull market in financial publishing. Okay. Now, during that era, the constraining factor on publishing businesses was often lift notes and secondary copy, we would call it. Okay. The reason for that was it was easier to write a winning promotion back then. Okay. We were in a bull market. Okay. We hadn't had this crushing bear market. Businesses were doing well. They were thriving. It was a bubble, for want of a better word. You know, in lots of things, it was a bubble. It was driven by low interest rates. The knock-on effects just took a long time. In that environment, if you're a publisher, you have 10 working promotions. Okay. The constraining factor on your business is, how many eyeballs can I get on them? How many lists can I try? How many re-leads can I write? How much copy can I turn around and get back out into the market? Okay. In that environment, there was possibly an argument that, okay, let's hire lots of people who can write short form copy, and that will help our business. And maybe some of them will learn to write long form copy as well. That's where it comes from. So it comes from a real time and place. And
so just to add, because there are extenuating circumstances to that, what I would deem old advice. in the sense that at that time as well, there was a general belief in the industry, because of that luxury of working ideas, that it took so long to write promotions that actually, we should get people in on a more short-term basis, and we shouldn't expect them to be able to do that immediately and get in that way. So there was less development time, and there was just ways of efficiencies from often not copywriting people, maybe marketers or account managers or whatever, to try and look for areas of weakness within the quite long tail production of a long copy sales letter. There's always been that, how can we speed this up? This can't be the way. Let's get people doing shorter stuff first. That might be a way forward.
That's true. So it's born of a particular logic. If I was to give you the other side, the side that people don't want you to hear, it's much easier to teach a copywriter to write a lift note. So if your goal is to sell copywriters copywriting advice, you will sell them on that idea. This is true. It's like teaching a chef to make an omelette. Nobody wants an omelette. Do you know what I mean? It's not rocket science. Like, the core skill in our industry is the ability to develop an idea that can become a long copy promotion and work. And it's really, really hard to do. Okay. It's really hard. It's not easy to teach people. It requires a lot of effort, time. The failure rate is high. Okay. This is the reality. This is why if you can get there, you can earn a lot of money. It's a really, really highly paid, sought after skill set, because it's hard. So it's what, like all things in life, it's worth doing because it's hard, not because it's easy. Did Kennedy say that? We'll go there, not because whatever.
A.L. Kennedy, the novelist. Yeah.
So that would be the dark side slightly, that if you tell somebody all you have to do is learn to write short emails, you can teach them that skill more easily. It's a more acquirable skill. And then you can send them out into the world, and they can send their lift notes to publishers who can say, great lift notes, but no thank you, which is what happens. Okay. Because I don't know of any publishers who are really looking for that anymore. Now, why might they be interested if we were being charitable to the claim? Okay, somebody that can write a short form piece of copy has some of the skills that we're interested in. Now, I should actually just say, in case this is all just my opinion. It's based on working for the biggest financial publishers in the world across multiple different markets, 3 different continents, talking to the people who own those businesses. So if you want to discount my opinion, that's fine. You just happen to be wrong. I can't do anything about that. So somebody that can write a lift note, short piece of copy, well, a lot of them can't do it well. They haven't been taught necessarily the right skills. We can come to that sort of side quest in a second. They may be of interest to a publisher, but what the publisher will or the copy chief, what that copy chief will instantly do is say, can they write me a full promotion? Because that's the skill. Okay. It's like if you're playing a sport, what's the goal? Let's say you're a striker in football. The goal is to score the goal. The objective of your being on the pitch is to score goals. And it doesn't matter how good you are at some of this ancillary skill, you've got to be able to do the core skill as well. So what they're going to do is, I'll come to you in a second, Glenn. They're going to really quickly say, can they do that? Yeah. Can they write a full long copy promotion? Can they come up with an idea? And if they find that you can't, it's going to be a massive letdown, because nothing worse than being excited by somebody who can write a short piece of copy, and then, oh, it's a shame that they couldn't do the long. They won't be angry at you. They'll just think, oh, that's a shame. So you're starting off with disappointment. Much better to learn the core skill of copy, which is the long side, and then just apply that downstream to the short, which is that the short form of copy. Then you've got both skills. It's just going to take you a bit longer. That's the short version. It's taken us 10 minutes to do, but it's the short version of our message.
Just to add to that as well, you kind of alluded to it, but I'm right in thinking what publishers, what copy chiefs need in the modern market also is not that dearth of email thing. And even if you want to add like bloody AI and crap and like just efficiencies of creating, it's very quick and easy to riff a load of different lift notes these days. And many copywriters just add that to the list of deliverables on a promo anyway. But rather the key thing is that the market today is much harder to find an idea that has the legs, that has a promotion, that has the depth and the right levels of engagement with an audience, that can even warrant the need for all of that stuff. That's what people are looking for right now. They're looking for interesting ideas delivered well and that have that depth of knowledge and understanding. And that's not to say necessarily it has to be a typically deep and wherefore out there promo. It can still be a system-y kind of thing, but it needs to be the actual promo, and the idea is what publishers and copy chiefs are looking for and need more than that like huge volume of stuff. So yes, there's the angle of going, you don't want to let people down when they discover that you can't actually do that other thing, but also they don't need that right now. They just fundamentally do not need. It's just another thing where it's like, okay, that's cool, but I need to then, if I receive that email saying, here's some lift notes, I go, oh, that's cool. But I've kind of got someone doing that already. Like no one's not doing that. And then it's, well, now I've got to email you back to see if I can, have you done this? Have you, I can't, just to, my priority as a publisher is to find quality copywriters who can bring me quality ideas. That's the evidence that I need to see immediately in that pitch, rather than a good bit of writing.
It's better to think of this in terms of like core skill set, core competencies. The bold truth of it is, if you just learn to write lift note copy, your skill set is not well developed enough to be a successful long form copywriter yet. You do not have the competencies. You just don't. You have some of them. You have some of them in a well developed sense. You have some of them in sort of embryonic form. You know, they need time, but you are short the skills you need. That is why you're not going to get a job, because somebody has to say, well, we'll train them into you. And that's fine. Lots of businesses do hire, you know, lots of businesses will do that. They like you or they're in the right. But the idea that if you can master short form copy is going to have you walking into to publishing, it's untrue. It's untrue. It's false. I don't know of anyone. So to see if
it's false now. Whether it's false in the past, we can debate till the cows come out. It's kind of not relevant. What you're really saying, and I think it's key, because we see it countless in my inbox from people sending lift notes from. It's become the way of copywriters trying to get in the industry to. That's how they're pitching stuff. And we on our academy, and when we're mentoring people, we kind of have to flip it and go, no. Like we're going back to the ideas, and it's hard for them, and you would feel sometimes because you're just constantly hitting them like and pushing them back, it feels like. And we've got writers there now who are thankfully really successful, but have gone, oh God, this is hard like this. And it's like, yes, because it is hard to go through that, but we see it countless times in the market today where you are going. Just to do that is an old technique. At best, it is not relevant and it's not helping today.
And it was never the best advice. It may have been more broadly correct, and it may come back into vogue. You know, the markets are changing again. You know, lots of people kind of got booted out of the industry. You know, either self-selected out or otherwise when, you know, compliance levels came in. So it was like all of the people who just bitch and whinge about new legals just all failed, because they secretly weren't very good at it. That's, you know, they can't work
with depth. I would argue, like as I get older and mildly wiser, if you're bitching about compliance, it's because you've got no actual depth. So if compliance take the top level of stuff in a very rudimentary way of thinking about it, they just sweep the top level of anything. And if you're just surface level and you just wipe away all the numbers, it's that, oh shit, there's nothing below me. Then you've got to get big. But if you've got the depth and the understanding, and that's why we advise, it goes into everything. That's why we advise, don't bother reading books on copywriting and marketing. It's irrelevant. Read about what's going on in the world, in the news, in all of that stuff. Get the depth. That's where that will be more interesting to, if you, we're both fans of The Rest is History, but I imagine if you walked into a publisher and went, love this podcast, I'm obsessed with the Roman Empire and how like that's reflected, the downfall of the Roman Empire is reflected in modern society today, and we're seeing the same things that happened in late antiquity happening now. I dare say a publisher would be slightly more interested in you than if you'd walked in with a lift note that said click here. Like they'll be more interested in that depth of knowledge.
Yeah, so you really always say, and I don't know whether or not I'm the, this isn't a pitch for people to come and, I don't care where people go to learn to write copy. I just know that if you're putting all of your time into writing short form copy, and then you're trying to get a job as a long form copywriter, okay, it's all there in this sentence I just said. Don't be surprised when it doesn't work out. You don't have the skill set yet, so you need to develop the ability to write the first 4 pages of a long form sales letter. If you want to master the shorter, if you don't want to expend too much time, I mean, it will take you a lot of time, but like it's the first couple of pages, it's the ideas, the ability to capture people's attention, hold it, and then start to tell them about an idea that makes them want to take action. This is really hard to do. That's what you have to learn to do. That's what publisher wants to see evidence that you can do. So that's what you have to learn. That was either good news or bad news. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just being.
It's through the news. It's the news. I'm thinking of helpful and being practical and like so.
Wait, I've got a practical point.
So what's your practical thing?
Okay, so it comes back to the type of lift notes that people will send actually,
right, okay.
Which is, we've done episodes on this before. Let's say I'm going to use the example of sending short copy in as a way of understanding what a copy chief might want. Generally, okay, you'll write lift notes for a piece of copy that's already out there in the world, okay? So the copywriter behind that piece of copy has probably already written 10, 15, 20 lift notes, okay? So you have to make sure that you're not writing the same type of lift notes as what's already out there. And that's the sort of second mistake we see people making. It's like, this is fine, but it's very, very route one, that nobody's going to like get too excited about this because my copywriter's already written this. If I've copy out there in the marketplace at the moment, if I'm writing lift notes, I probably write 4 or 5 an hour to begin with, because I know the idea is they're just going to come out quickly. So it's not that hard for me to do. So you've got to go beyond that. And a great copywriter will be able to write the lift note I wouldn't have thought of. But actually what that tells me is that maybe that writer can come up with an idea that I can't come up with. And that idea could be a full promotion. So it all ends, all roads.
I was just going to say that the chances are if you come up with a truly original lift note, it's going to probably be, or it might be, if not a full promo idea, it might be a re-lead. It might be you could easily adapt that into a new headline and lead. That might, if you then pitched it as a new headline and lead, you actually solve your own problem, because even if it's not got the legs to go and be a full promotion in itself, you've pitched a headline and lead and actually shown that you're aiming for greatness, you're aiming for a bigger thing because you've got this idea. But I'll ask you, Nick, rather than trying to riff it up myself, but when you're looking, what's your advice for when you're looking at an existing promo and you're looking to try and find new ideas around that promo in a very practical way? What would you do about that? If you let's say you've written your first 10 lift notes, you've tried like the headline, you've tried the lead, you've tried the thing down there, you've done a little bit of that, you've You've looked at what's happening in the market. You've gone through the kind of main things. You're like, shit, I need an 11th idea. Where would you go for that?
For a lift note or for a
let's just say for a lift note for easy thing, but then caveat that with you could then develop that into another angle.
Well, actually, there's two ways of answering your question. So one is a little acid test we can give people. Look at the lift notes you've written. Could any of them become a re-lead? Could they grow? Are they the seed of something that you could grow into a re-lead that's probably going to be, with really changing, the first 3 or 4 pages of copy, probably. Just imagine you're going to rewrite or change the first 3 pages, 4 pages that is going to tack on somewhere to the existing copy. That's a re-lead. Now, that would be my first thing. Like, is any of the, because if they don't meet that requirement, they definitely weren't worth writing. You're trying to show that ability. If I've already written a lot, I mean, at this point, you kind of know what's working because you've written, it gets easier. So I just tinker, I just try and use the different formats that I know work. Try something very, very short. Try something very, very long. Write a re-lead. Write something like an essay. Like if I had to write an editorial essay to get the words flowing again, look at what's going on in the news. What's happening right now. Can we news check all of these different things? But to be honest, that still gets trapped in the same paradigm that maybe is tripping people up, which is that I'm already doing that for my promotions. So that I don't want to sound like too big-headed, but somebody has to beat what I'm doing. And I'm the person that wrote the copy. So either I'm out of ideas, which will happen eventually, or they're way better than I am. If they're way better than I am, then they could probably write a full promotion, or they can have a crack at it and it might be a bit rough. So I think what I'm looking for is real original thinking. Somebody who's taken a step back from the copy. So what's this really all about? What's really going on here? What's the story really here? And then maybe, yes.
You got your answer to your own question, which I knew you had within you, the answer.
Yes, sorry.
And you got there, but I will draw it from you as that's how minds work. We've got to step away from the copy, and you've got to say, what is really going on here? For example, let's say I'm going to make something up just for the sake of it. Right now, it's all, let's say, Musk versus Trump doing all this stuff. But you say, right, okay, this promo is about Musk and Trump coming together to do this thing. Ask who's behind that? Why? What's that? Where did that come from? What's not on? What aren't they saying in this promo? And go on Google. It's free, easy to use. Go on there and say, when did Musk and Trump meet? Who introduced them? What thing? Anything like that, and just start going down a rabbit hole that way. If you found that Musk and Trump were introduced by Kurt Vonnegut 12 years ago on an islanded thingy, now that's interesting. The island meeting where Kurt Vonnegut changed the world, and you go, all right, it's silly because I've made up in my head, but you can see why getting off that page, promo, and going into ask deeper questions that are slightly tangential to the main idea, but are actually on the way to discovering new ideas. That's what you've got to do. Rather than analyzing the copy, can I take it from this subhead kind of thing?
No, that you're going to have to take a step back. That's what critical thinking really. That's what we're really looking for. Sort of lateral thinking. You got lateral. The other thing to think is okay, so right now, so this is sort of February 2025. So I don't know when you're watching this, but if you're watching it, within however long with us recorded, right now, the ideas in our market are very, very, very narrow. I mean, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, everything. Okay, fine. I'm looking I'm talking to copy chiefs all the time. People are looking for the thing that isn't that. It's hard to find, but the best copywriters find it. They figure out maybe there's a story nobody's telling. Maybe there's something completely outside, or maybe there's a way to get to a story by going in the opposite direction to everybody else. These are the skills that we want to see.
I've got about 24 tabs open on my internet at the moment because I'm trying to find an idea at the moment. I'm literally going through a process of going, right, it's something to do with this. like AI, whatever you want thing. And I'm going further and further. I've got a little bit of a thesis, and I'm like, oh, it'd be nice if that was there. If people say,
smell
that said that would be great. So I kind of start through, and then you go further and you go, right, that's a dead end, but that says that. Actually, this even in a story about that, it's a story about energy. And you start going into that, and then you go into that, and then you go and think, and then eventually you will find monkey used as first test X where you go, right, okay, now I go the other way. I don't know what the way, but that's how you start doing that, and that would be a much better use of your time than trying to write 5 lift notes for.
Yes, it's harder, so we're not hiding that. I just want to end on like a positive note, because I think it's possible that this is just all bad news for people, although it's the truth. So the truth is the truth. It's neither good nor bad. Copy chiefs and publishers are always looking for copywriters who can do the things that we've just been talking about. Always. They're desperate for people who have ideas, who think differently, who can find their way into stories that nobody else can find. They are always interested in that. Always, always, always. Whether they say they're hiring or not. I remember, years and years and years ago, somebody, applying for a job in a different department. I remember the publisher I was working with at the time was like, we're not employing anybody, by the way, brackets, unless you know a great copywriter. They're always looking for these people. The door is always open if you have those skill sets. They're not all looking for somebody who can write emails for them. That, if it was ever true, or when it was true, was a much narrower problem, much lower value, much lower status part of the market. So while it's hard to get to those higher order skills, it is worthwhile, and the door is open, and they are interested in hearing your ideas. They are. That's not just me trying to be kind. I mean, I wouldn't do that anyway, but that's the truth. So it is worth pursuing. It's hard work, but it's good work.
And also, just to catch all, because I feel like what we're saying, people might think, yeah, but then you've got to do all this before you can get a junior job. That's not the case. People will take on a junior, but it's how you are positioning yourself. It's how you are evidencing your potential. Yeah. It is much different to evidence your potential by talking to a publisher about the parallels between late antiquity and modern America than sending them 6 cliff notes. It's a different thing that you're presenting. They don't expect you to know it or how to write a 10,000 word letter yet. They want to see that you've got the potential to. But if you reduce yourself to a lift note writer or what have you, and go get a scrappy dude coming in on the side and let me do this for you, Barry, that's reduces you. They want to see they're grown up, they're mature people. They can see potential, and they'll still employ a junior that doesn't know.
Oh, absolutely. They're not looking for the finished product, but all recruitment processes the ones that I used to run, the other ones that I've been involved in since, it usually just involves, here's a piece of editorial, here's a piece of copy, write me a headline and lead. Now rewrite it. Now come up with another one. Now do it again. Now do it again. Now do it again. And you do that 5 times, say, and you see who starts to be able to do it. That's what they're looking for. And that they'll take. That they'll grow that with you.
We do it ridiculous. I mean, not an advertisement, but we do that in our mentoring, where I've been through, like, I'm thinking of one particular copywriter, you'll know who he is. He's been through highs and lows where we're just going, no, write the headline again. No, write again. No, you got it wrong again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Now he's smashing them out and going, got that. But you've got to just keep doing that. We always feel guilty saying, no, sorry, you've got to do it again. You've missed the point. Or now we've got a better idea because you've written slightly better than last time. We've got a better idea to develop. That's just how it works. There's no trick. It's just, you've just got to go through these, crappy word, but iterations of something and keep doing it over and over again is how it works. There's no kind of cheat function to it. True gone.
You've got a job for you. It's fine. If you feel like you need a shower, fine. Go and wash all the truth off you, because it's just truth. That's all this was.
Dirty, baggy truth, and its friends. Anyway, so in answer to your question, Don't write lift notes anymore. Stop doing that nonsense. It's just copywriters trying to earn a fast buck, is what we're saying. In slow-mo, there was a time for it. And there was a time and a place, as there is time and place for everything. But that time and the place is no longer looking like that. We're in a different world, people. We've gone through the looking glass.
A better world.
And we need to adapt.
A better world.
Yeah,
right.
probably.
Let's wrap this up. Let people go and wash the truth from their eyes.
Get that truth out the cracks in your body. I'm not saying which cracks.
We will be back next week with more of this.
Or less.
Come back if you want. See ya.
That's all for this episode, but if you'd like to get your copy reviewed, or you've seen some copy you want Nick and Glenn's opinion on, get in touch at feedback@thefix.copywriting.com. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and share.